Have you ever been truly surprised? Not just startled, but something happened you could never even imagine? One night long ago in Bethlehem, people were surprised beyond anything anyone could even think of.
Zephyrin stood up and groaned to himself. Having an extra room or two to rent to travelers was a good idea, but it seemed like they never had time to finish all the work. Usually, it was just a traveler or two, or someone on their way to the temple in Jerusalem for a festival. This time, it was the emperor's count, and the rooms were packed with family. He had to sneak out to the stable now and then to have a quiet moment to himself. Ada finished sweeping and leaned against the door frame. She had to be careful not to step on people or trip over feet. The house was so crowded that at night there wasn't a single space to put your foot. Now, everything was so crowded, but it was full of family. That was fine. So now she was getting stew ready. Everyone was settling down for the night, putting out bedrolls, getting settled down. Zephyrin was about to eat his dinner when he heard a knock at the gate. He wearily trudged over to the wooden door and opened it. And there was a man leading a donkey. And on the donkey was a woman who was very, very pregnant. "What do you want?" he growled. The man said, "Please, sir, we've come to get the family counted like we were supposed to for the emperor. But we had to travel slowly, and there's no room left anywhere. Do you have any space at all?" Well, Ada had heard the knock, and she came over to see what was happening. She tugged at Zephyr's sleeve. "There's room in the stable. It's got straw and it's warm." Zephyrin sighed. He was hoping to sneak out there later. Ada looked at the couple. She saw that the girl was very young and very pregnant. She didn't even know that they could afford a donkey. They looked very poor. They must have borrowed it for the trip. Zephyrin sighed, but he knew Ada was right, and he said, "I have room in the stable for you. Follow me." He took them to the stone cave in the back of the house and settled them down. Later, Ada came out with some blankets and a pot of stew and a bottle of water. She stayed until Mary needed help with the baby. She listened to her stories. She told her about Elizabeth, who was a much older cousin, just had her first child. She couldn't believe it when Mary told her that Zechariah couldn't even speak until he named his son John. And then John was supposed to prepare the way for the Messiah, Mary's child. She couldn't believe that story. Mary had even written a song about it. She thought, well, when women are pregnant, they sometimes think strange things. The Messiah shouldn't be born to such poor people in such a shabby place. Well, soon the baby was born, and Ada washed Mary and the baby and made a bed for the baby in the feed trough. And she was just about to go back and get some sleep herself when some men came into the stable. They were shepherds, and they came and knelt next to the baby. She'd never seen anything like that. And then the men said an angel had appeared to them out in the fields and had sung God's praises and told them the Messiah was born this night in Bethlehem. So they came to see. Ada was astonished. Shepherds kneeling to a baby and calling him a king. That made no sense at all. But maybe this was a night for surprises. Maybe things were happening that had never happened before. She had to think about this. Angels appearing to Mary, to her cousin Elizabeth, to the shepherds. God often does things in astonishing ways. Maybe this was a new way of making things happen. It was certainly a night for surprises.